The Fallout franchise is home to some of the saddest and most pitiful creatures ever put into a game, but some stand out from the rest. In this video, we'll be looking at 6 more sad Fallout creatures. Number 6. Centaurs. Centaurs, much like the super mutants they often accompany, are the result of Forced Evolutionary Virus. However, instead of simply exposing a human to some form of FEV, Centaurs were created by the Master experimenting with FEV. He tossed humans, cats, dogs, and a multitude of other animals into vats of FEV to see what would happen, with Centaurs being the ungodly creatures birthed from the virus. While the Centaurs encountered in Fallout largely look the same for time and resource reasons, Centaurs would actually look quite different, as the different genes of the different animals would combine and interact with FEV in different ways, creating all sorts of lovable monstrosities. Number 5. Swan. Swan is a super mutant behemoth found in Swan's Pond in the Commonwealth. Like all super mutants, Swan was once a man named Edgar Swan who worked for the Institute. According to logs found around Swan's Pond, Edgar Swan swole cigarettes and was sentenced to stay inside a house for 30 days and keep a log of his daily events. By day 6, his entire body was aching, and he was suspecting that something had been done to him. By day 14, he had calmed down, and his muscle mass has more than tripled since the experiment began. On day 21, he was sent back to the Institute's observation lab for further study. He determines that his future looks poor, as his mental state has started rapidly deteriorating, and seizures have also started. In his last remarks, he wonders if he will be rejected like the others. The sole survivor can encounter Swan in Fallout 4, who has now succumbed to his base instincts, becoming a psychopathic monster who is feared by many in the Boston area. Number 4. Slags. Slags are former soldiers that were around before the Great War. Not having access to a proper vault when the Great War began, they sealed themselves underground, and the event would become known as the Sealing. After centuries of living underground, they have heavily mutated to the point where they cannot be in the sun without being in intense pain, as their skin and eyes are not used to the sun. Sometime prior to 2241, the Slags broke the seal and ventured to the surface, forming the Ghost Farm, where they would have a somewhat reliable source of food. They avoid people whenever possible. As a result, whenever people would travel to the farm, it would appear empty. A man from a nearby town of Modoc moves in, suspecting it empty. The Slags cover themselves in glowing fungus to appear as ghosts to scare the man away. Not long after, the man leaves, but the inhabitants of Modoc suspect him murdered after finding crucified corpses in the ghost farm, which had been props set up by the Slags. If the Chosen One cannot help Modoc find out what happened to the man, the Slags at the ghost farm will be exterminated. Number 3. Endless Walkers. Endless Walkers, at one point, were just your typical ghoul. Although it is worth mentioning that they don't actually appear in any Fallout game, they were planned creatures to appear in Black Isle Studios' Fallout 3. In a way, Endless Walkers are just ghouls. They come from the Reservation, a former nuclear testing facility in New Mexico. They are stripped of all possessions including food, water, and clothes, and sent off to march into the wasteland in what is known as the Endless Walk, hence the name. Due to them having spent so much time walking in the desert, constantly being blasted by the sun's rays and exposed to radiation, their skin is a pale white and red color, and is incredibly tough. Most of them have gone incredibly long periods without food or water, causing them to attack anyone and anything on sight in an attempt to procure food or water. Number 2. Spore Carriers. Spore Carriers are humans who have been exposed to the entomopathogenic fungus Bavaria marcadina. An entomopathogenic fungus is a type of fungus that acts like a parasite to insects and kills them or at least seriously disables them. The fungus was, surprise surprise, created at a big empty research facility that focused on researching plant life and its military applications. According to a terminal found in Vault 22, the spore carriers are technically dead as the fungus kills them but reanimates the corpse, like a zombie of sorts. While the process of becoming a spore carrier is largely unknown, we do know that the fungus spreads throughout the body and can take 10 to 20 days to die from the infection. Harrison Peters, the first person to become infected in Vault 22, was said to have pneumonia by the Vault doctors. He died 10 minutes before surgery could take place. A few hours later, his corpse reanimated and attacked the doctors, beginning the spread of the fungus throughout the vault. Number 1. Born Ghouls. Born ghouls are strange creatures. Like with Endless Walkers, born ghouls were to appear in Black Isle Studios' Fallout 3. They are, however, mentioned in St. Monica's Church in Fallout 3's Rivet City. It's well known that ghouls become sterile after prolonged exposure to radiation. But there are some ghouls, namely the hideous Dr. Sebastian, that view the ghouls as the next step for humanity and want to grow the species. Enter born ghouls. As expected by the name, born ghouls are not ghouls who were once human. They are ghouls that were born as ghouls. But since ghouls can't give birth or even conceive children, humans were used as the catalyst for Dr. Sebastian's twisted experiments. There are 3 born ghouls that would have existed in Black Isle Studios' Fallout 3. Among them is Belle, who, according to the game's design document, is attractive. The prisoner, the game's playable character, would have been able to have relations with Belle, but because of how quickly born ghouls grow, Belle is only 2 years old, so that's kinda weird. Alright, that's going to do it for this video about 6 more sad Fallout creatures. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Follow me on Twitter at Mitten Squad. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.